team. Welcome to the Mosaic podcast. This is the season of becoming the person you were meant to be. And this month, we are talking about anything and everything about systems that change your life. This is the weekly operating system for building a business and life, one intentional piece at a time. So this month, we are talking about the systems that change your life. And the month, we are going to have 4 episodes. And the very first episode is all about, and it is this one, it is all about the hidden cost of every decision we make. Daily, day after day. Right? So I am so glad you're here because this is what we are about to talk about today. And it is something that I think almost every single day, that's what we do. And once you hear this methodology, I promise you, you'll start seeing it everywhere. So today, we're talking about the hidden cost of every single decision that we make. And I don't mean the obvious stuff. Sometimes the decisions that we make it seems so right at the time, right? But there is this invisible price tag that's attached to every single yes that we say and every day, right? And also every single no that you say or don't say. So this is month 1 of our season together. So we are starting with systems because before we can build a life we actually want, we want to understand how we are currently spending the most non-renewable resource that we have. And it is not money. It is not even time. I mean, I get it. Time is the most valuable resource, and we can't, when it is gone, it is gone. But think about that. Maybe there's another thing that is the most important, and that is the decisions, because the decisions that you make impacts the time that you spend, and that is non-renewable. So that is the big idea here. That is the opportunity cost. So there is a concept that economists call is the opportunity cost. And in its simplest form, it really means that every single choice you make is a choice against something else. So when you say yes to scrolling on Instagram for, say, 30 minutes, you're saying no to 30 minutes of something else. Maybe you were trying to write a book and you're not doing that, right? Or we were going to call your mom and you didn't do that. Or you were going to go to bed on time so tomorrow you can show up as the best version of yourself, but you stayed up scrolling on Instagram. So, maybe I'm just, making scrolling Instagram such a bad thing. But that is really, that the whole idea is there is the opportunity cost. What you're saying yes to, you're saying no to something else. Because another example, right? When you say yes to a meeting that you didn't really need to be there, you said no to deep focus on something that actually moves the needle. When you said yes to the third commitment that you made this week, you said no to the rest that you actually needed, so that you can have the best ideas, you can generate the best ideas, and you can live the best life that you can live. So there is the hidden cost. Isn't always money. More often, it is energy. It's your attention. It is the momentum that you are building. It is the quiet erosion of who you are trying to become. So that's why we have to start here. In order to live the best life that you can possibly have, We need to understand this big idea on the opportunity cost and the decisions that we make day in, day out. And I want to be honest with you about something, right? When we were young, and we don't get to learn this stuff when we were young. Especially in my earlier days, there was a period in my life where I was the queen of yeses. Yes to every collaboration, yes to every request, yes to showing up for everyone. And to this day, sometimes I do things like that, right? And I'm not saying that this is like you have to cut everything out dry. It's not about that. But at one point, you have to say yes to yourself, your needs, your goals, you becoming the best version of yourself. And from the outside, every yeses that you say, it probably even looked productive. And it looks generous and genuine, right? But internally, it is depleting. Sometimes I had so many open loops, so many projects that I was trying to juggle, so many obligations that I'd agreed to out of guilt sometimes, that fear of disappointing people kind of, made me towards that yes. And what I didn't realize at the time was that I was paying an enormous hidden cost of every single day, that in the form of chronic stress, like it was creating stagnation on my ideas, and it's this nagging feeling that my life was happening to me because of other people's needs and wants, rather than it's being designed by me. So that is the shift that we have to start with if we are going to become the best version of ourselves. The shift came when I really started asking the single question before saying yes to anything. So, what am I saying no to if I say yes to this? And that one question changed everything. And I still, to this day, try to ask that question to myself. So the framework that I want you to really focus on this week is 3 areas in your life that I want you to have an audit. And again, every single episode of this monthly series season that we are in, you are going to come up with something practical. And I call this, for this episode, I call it the 3 area audit. These are the 3 places where hidden costs most quietly accumulate in our lives. So area number 1, it is your time. I want you to look at your calendar or your typical week. It doesn't even have to be on your Google Calendar. You may have multiple calendars just like I do, okay? Try to consolidate them. It's okay to look at multiple calendars, but try to consolidate them and look at your typical week and ask yourself, is what is on there actually aligned with who you are building yourself into? Or is it full of things that you said yes to before you knew that what you were saying no to? Because now you're asking that question, right? What am I saying no to if I say yes to this thing, right? So every appointment, every commitment, every recurring meeting or obligation you have on your calendar, I want you to ask yourself, what is the opportunity cost that is attached to this commitment? And just know what it is. I'm not asking you to do something yet. Just know what that is. And then area 2 is your mental bandwidth. Okay? So this one is a little bit of a sneaky one, because every unresolved decision, every open loop, every pending conversation that you have been avoiding, those are all running in the background like apps and the browsers on your phone or on your computer. That's like they just drain the battery life on your phone or on your computer, right? It is very similar. The hidden cost, it isn't just emotional, it's like cognitive. It's something that you need to do that you haven't done before. So it is the reason you sit down to do your most important work and then you feel foggy because before you even start to do your most important work, because you haven't cleared out that mental bandwidth that's holding you back. So just like those open browsers, open apps, I want you to think about and write it down. Like, what is the mental bandwidth that I'm carrying over week after week? And what are some of the open loops that I need to close? That's a very sneaky area. And I want you to pause and think about that. And then there is the area 3, okay? And that one is your relationships. And that is who you spend your time with decision. And it's such an important one. I mean, whether or not it feels like one, it's a very important one, and it has still an opportunity cost associated with it, right? There's an opportunity cost of staying in low energy, like draining relationships, is the depth and the joy and the growth that you want to experience in life, because your emotional energy that you're staying in with this relationship is not spoken for. So there is an opportunity cost that's happening with the people that you are spending your life with day in, day out. So those are the 3 areas, my friends. Your time, by looking at your calendar, the mental bandwidth that you're carrying forward that you may need to close, and then the relationship audit, like who you are spending your time with the most. Just have an audit and let this land. Okay, breathe for a minute. You feel free to pause this episode and do the work and then come right back to it. So here's what I love about understanding the opportunity cost. It is not about becoming ruthless, okay, or saying no to everything. It is about becoming conscious. Because when you start choosing intentionally and deliberately, when you actually evaluate what you're trading, something incredible happens over time. Because your choices start to compound. So you start reclaiming the hours back in your life, which is the most precious asset. The hours you reclaim get reinvested into the things that matter. So the mental clarity you create makes room for your best thinking, right? So the relationships you tend to carefully become that you tend and you create, it carefully becomes the foundation of everything else that you're building in your life. Sometimes the shift is very small. Like one intentional decision, something very slight, but you make it consistently, it compounds, and that is the mosaic. That's how extraordinary lives are built. Not in dramatic moments of transformation, but in the quiet, daily practice of asking, is this trade worth it? So before I let you go today, I want you to sit with this. What is one thing in your life right now that you're saying yes to out of habit, maybe out of guilt, or maybe out of fear, that is costing you something that is much more important? And my friends, I don't want you to change it today, but I want you to see it today. I want you to be aware of it today, because awareness is always the first piece of the mosaic, because when you're aware of it, you can make a plan to change it. But I want you to be aware of it. I want you to see it. And start feeling these affirmations today. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. Every decision you make is a brick in the life you are building. You have the clarity to choose what aligns with who you are becoming. You're not afraid to say no because you know what you are protecting. Your attention is precious and you spend it with intention. You are building a life designed by you, one conscious choice at a time. All right, team, thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for choosing to spend this time investing in yourself, because that right there is the most important decision you made today. And if today's conversation moved something inside you, I want you to continue the work in the Mosaic podcast. This is where I share guided affirmations, subliminals, audio experiences designed to help you build and help you become the person you are intentionally building, one mosaic piece at a time. Stay tuned. These are all going to become a masterful course that we're building here online and live. I'll see you next week. Take care of yourself.